I don't know who came in first, Ms. Tenney or Mr. Keating. I saw Mr. Keating here for a long time.
He's in with it. They have the same amendment.
Okay, okay, I'll recognize Mr. Keating.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Ranking Member. My grandparents came here from Europe. They founded the local church. They got a house and they rented and scrapped up enough money to buy it. And although people in the street tried to buy it from under them because of their religion, they persevered, had support in the community, and they loved this country. They loved the United States. At World War II, in the window of that house, there were 5 blue stars, which I think everyone knows what that means. There were 5 serving at the same time, from the islands in the South Pacific, anti-aircraft, to Europe, to North Africa, all around the globe, spread out. In fact, one of my uncles sent a package for his birthday to his brother, and it came back marked deceased, and that's the way he found out that his brother was killed in action while wounded, saving another person's life under his command and going out to get someone else when he was machine gunned in half. 400,000 Americans were killed, over 400,000 in World War II. Other families that sacrificed so much. But one of the greatest things that sacrifice for their families and their descendants like myself meant was the legacy they left of peace and prosperity highlighted by the NATO agreement in 1949, the greatest period of peace and prosperity our country has ever seen. It's a great comfort to families who've lost people to know that that meant so much. You know, it meant a lot to all of us after 9/11. I knew Father Michael Judge, the first recorded fatality in New York. He was chaplain to the New York Fire Department, and he died rushing into the building in his duty as a chaplain. And what happened was, as a result, Article 5, for the only time, was invoked. And it was invoked because the U.S. was attacked. And all our allies in the NATO came to our assistance. Mr. Scott and I, one of our earlier trips, traveled through the whole region, and we saw all the NATO troops supporting the U.S. We saw Danes there, who were the highest pro-rata casualties of any of the people. So when we had this issue come before us that would fragment and maybe destroy NATO, I dealt with our European allies. I sat down with all of them, and they wanted to take a non-confrontational approach. And as before this, from the time this hearing started, I'm going to share with you at the end, it's going to be easier to support this bill at the end of this hearing, knowing what happened, than it is before. But it caused great scarring. People who went to Europe know this. The people coming back from Davos know this. And even though there's events that have transpired to lessen the controversy, the fact that this took place will leave an indelible scar, I think, that can be really healed by great measure by the act of Congress. This is our opportunity to move forward as a Congress. This is a bipartisan amendment of 30 sponsors. It mirrors a bill that almost has 70 sponsors, bipartisan sponsors before, to try and just make the statement that we are together, NATO, countries that are not going to be fragmented by any threats against each other. Mr. Norman talked about the things that he liked, you know, aid to Israel, aid to our allies. Well, we better have some allies to give aid to. And we have a coalition that the Chinese and the Russians do not have. And that is the envy of the world, and it gives us the most strategic advantage we can. So let me get quickly to the news that occurred since the beginning of this hearing, if I could share with you. The President has announced he's dropping the tariffs. The President's announced he's in discussions right now to deal with this controversy, and that's great. He announced earlier he wouldn't take military action. But the fact that this occurred and the scars that it could leave are what's important. We have a chance as a Congress, in a bipartisan way, to do something so significant, to make sure that there's no doubt in the future that we stand together, and to really give a legacy and meaning to families like mine and so many others who've lost someone to get us to this point. If we can't agree with this on a bipartisan basis, I don't know what we can. You know those people I worked with in Europe? They didn't want Denmark mentioned. They didn't want targets. And when I came up with the idea of working with Mr. Hoyer, and Mr. Meeks, Mr. Bacon, Mr. Boyle, all together, putting the idea, this is about NATO. This is an amendment that doesn't tear us apart in controversy, but brings us together. This is a great opportunity for Congress. I hope we take advantage of it. I really hope you rule it in order. It's less controversial now than it was at the beginning of this hearing. And that makes it that much easier to go forward with this. This is really important. You know I don't come here a lot. And you'd be grateful for that, I suppose. But I hope you give this some serious consideration, because it's an unusual opportunity as a Congress to have our voice heard. Thank you.